It's about time that, they all figured out in here. Instead of just naming movies Scream and making everything confusing, let's just call it what it is, Scream 6. It's not going to hurt anything. If anything, it helps. Scream 6 was directed by Matt Binatelli-Olpin. It stars Liana Liberato, Courtney Cox, and Jenna Ortega, and a whole bunch of more people in here. And in here, the survivors of Ghostface's last attack find themselves in a bit more of an interesting situation when they head to New York for a bit of a vacation, but Ghostface follows them there, and the killing spree begins all over again, and they must uncover the person behind the mask and fight for survival. Scream 6 had me a little excited. I know a lot of people didn't really care for Scream 5. I, at the time, really enjoyed it. I now enjoy it a little less, but still think it's an enjoyable enough film. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't have a massive amount of confidence going in, but I had a decent amount. I was excited to see what they could do continuing with the franchise, and I was very pleased with Scream 6. Scream 6 takes advantage of all the things that come with the new style that they're bringing to this film, the new environment, and it's, I think, fairly well executed. Largely in part because, now this is the first time that we've not been in a rural area. We're actually in a city. We are in New York, which is like when Freddy Takes Manhattan, which you're going to hear everybody compare this to because that's kind of where you can tell this inspiration from, and they literally self-reference it sort of in the movie by having some characters watching it. But nevertheless, I feel like they did a pretty good job at using that to their advantage. They put them in positions and places and can do things with that you can't normally do. I will say I don't think they did it as much and as well as they could have, but the way they did it, though, was very good, and I enjoyed it. They used the environment to their advantage, like I said, and it was great. I really enjoyed seeing what they could do with it, and the directors were able to do more things within a scene or multiple scenes because of the fact that people were not just, in the same kind of like houses. You can put someone in a giant, penthouse. You can put them in a store. You can have more people. It adds a little bit more to this movie, and it gives you a new feel. It gives this movie its very own identity, and I think that's something important for a movie series like this that's trying to continue so long after the original came out, is it really needs to be itself and stand on its own 2 feet. Another thing in here that I really like a lot are, I think the characters are pretty good, way better than the last ones. I think in the original, like, Scream 5 that came out, they were more or less just kind of like, they were typical horror characters, and that's pretty much all they were. And here, they seem to be a little more like people. They seem to have personalities. They actually have traits and decisions where you can clearly distinguish who's who, why they're doing it. And that was great, particularly Jenna Ortega's character in here. I really liked her, and I liked Jenna Ortega. I think Jenna Ortega's a standout performer in here because she's really making this her own, and I think I can see why she's blowing up right now as an actress. She is doing a phenomenal job. She's one of my favorite young actresses working right now because she genuinely has a lot more to bring than I think a lot do. But another thing this movie does really well, I think it has a very good soundtrack. It's something that the last one was lacking and the last few was lacking. It's kind of got more of a synth sound to it. There's orchestra, but you can tell there's some synth in there when you listen to it. Like, I just listened to it on YouTube a little while ago. It's got a great sound to it. And the horror in here is actually scary. I mean, I have no idea how long I've been watching movies, and I'm like, this isn't scary. And that's hard. And Scream 5 in particular was not as good as I wanted it to be, especially on rewatch. But I like the horror in here. There's some great scenes and some genuinely intense moments where I was like, jeez, this is, man. I mean, there are some parts that I don't really like. There's some decisions made, again, that are really stupid by characters. I will say the third act in here got a little convoluted, and I wasn't a big fan of the ending and the big twist, and to be honest, these movies got to the point where anything and everything happens within the ending of the movie for the twist, for Ghostface and things like that. I just wasn't the biggest fan of that, and that's probably the only thing I really took away from it. Aside from that, I had a fantastic time with Scream 6. It was a very enjoyable film. It didn't fail to entertain me. I had just an absolute blast of a time from start to finish, and I would recommend you go see it. I'm going to give Scream 6 a 7 out of 10. So thank you guys always so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you all next time.